Happening now, residents of a local trailer park are speaking out about decades of dirty water and asking why nothing has been done to fix the problem. Plus, we preview the Jamestown Red Raider Marching Band show ahead of their championship performance this weekend.
Well, have you noticed it's a soggy one out there for this Friday, but I think you'll take that over what could be coming next week. We'll talk about it in detail next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
A Conewango man is accused of calling in a fake bomb threat to an area school. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould, and we start with breaking news. The Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office just announced that 20-year-old Dominic Brisley allegedly worked with another person who has not been identified in the report to call the Sheriff's Dispatch Center on October 10th and 11th, reporting the threat. Now, during the phone call, it's alleged that Brisley also threatened local law enforcement and first responders who might have responded to the incident. He has since been charged with making a terroristic threat. Brisley deputies report turned himself in and was processed and released in the case. The school has not been identified by police. Well, residents at a Town of Carroll trailer park are alleging negligence on the part of their landlord after nearly 10 years of issues that are now coming to a head. As our Julia Gress reports, some at Brookside Estates claim their landlord is committing tax fraud, operating without a permit, and ignoring water and septic safety issues. Julia Gress with more at What's at Hand.
They have trailers in here that are registered to people that are deceased, or to people that don't live in here, or trailers that are no longer in here.
Tim Lip and Brandy Bartlow claim that even though the county tax assessor has been made aware of the issues, the assessor says his office could not force the owners to provide an updated list of each lot's value yearly. Though residents have brought the issue to the town of Carroll, the supervisor, the county tax assessor, and legislator, violations have been piling up for nearly 20 years.
The gentleman that lived in lot 66, he passed away in 2011, and his name is still on the tax assessment sheet in here.
However, that's not the biggest issue the two are highlighting. Lip and Barlow also disclosed their dire water situation in the trailer court and that they are still being charged for unusable water.
I've had the water in my home numerous times come out looking like a mud puddle for long periods of time. They would tell me to just let it run, it'll clear up after a while. Yeah, no. No, it doesn't clear up.
Bartlow, who has a 2-month-old, purchases water instead of allowing her child to drink the provided water. Lip also says that the dirty water has caused many residents to have to replace their hot water tanks.
She had to replace her hot water tank. It was a 40-gallon gas. When they went to take it out of there, they went to drain it. Out of a 40-gallon tank, they got 8 gallons of water. And when they went to take it out of there, it weighed like 500 pounds because of all the sediment from the crap just being pumped into the hot water tanks.
They also claim that the original owner knew about the water issues before selling the property, and that this information was given to the buyer, Robert Morgan. Residents also brought the owner's lack of permit to operate to attention, saying that without a working sewage and water system, they are not legally allowed to charge rent.
When we went to court right before COVID happened, they submitted a post-dated permit for May 9th, I think, of 2019. Yeah, they still don't have that permit.
Though residents are being charged over $400 a month to occupy the lot, neither their septic or water systems work properly.
Do you know we have the #1 sewage spill in Chautauqua County right now, right over there in that field? Little ways right away from our 3 wells. One which has already been shut down because it was contaminated, and we can't get them to go in and test the other 2 wells.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Due to the age of their trailers, Leap and Bartlow tell us they're unable to move to a better location. Bartlow has filed a civil suit with Carroll Court, stating that 74 violations of negligence on part of the landlord. Well, the man wanted for burglarizing a hunting cabin in the town of Westfield has been taken into custody. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office says 39-year-old James Ganetsky of Girard, PA, was arrested yesterday afternoon. Deputies were called to a burglary in progress at a hunting camp on Route 394 in the town of Westfield around 2 o'clock Wednesday. They allege that Ganetsky fled from that location just prior to their arrival. A major search then was conducted of a very large, vast wooded area, but investigators called that off just before sunset Wednesday. The man is now being held as a fugitive from justice and will likely face several charges related to the alleged burglary. A complaint alleging a sex crime has been filed against former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo resigned from his post in August after multiple women came forward alleging inappropriate touching. In his farewell address, he launched a series of attacks on his political rivals and questioned the motives of the state attorney general who oversaw the investigation. Cuomo has repeatedly denied the allegations, admitting that he made mistakes, but always insisted the more serious accusations were untrue. According to the criminal summons issued by the Albany City Court, Cuomo is due to appear in court on the afternoon of November 17th. Well, Chautauqua County's sales tax collection slightly dropped in the month of September. That's according to a report released by New York's comptroller. Sales tax countywide brought in $9.6 million during the month, 3.2% lower than its September of 2020. However, the county saw growth during the third quarter as a whole, bringing in $23.8 million from July to September. That is 14% increase from the same time last year. Statewide sales tax collections in September were up. That compared to the third quarter statewide from around $5.2 billion in sales tax collected, up by $861 million from this time last year. Statewide growth is a sign that New York is seeing an economic recovery from the pandemic. However, the comptroller warns that local governments must closely watch changing economic conditions as supply chain shortages and workforce disruptions continue. Well, a local history center is getting ready for Halloween with a family-centered event that celebrates the holidays past. Our Alana Wingate spoke with the group's curator and brings us a preview.
The Fenton History Center is hosting an open house on Saturday with several Halloween-themed exhibits on display. As curator Victoria Parker tells us, the historical institution will also have several themed photo opportunities and take and make activities for kids, starting at 10 a.m. and running until 6:30 p.m.
The whole mansion is decorated for Halloween. It's for the whole month of October. But if you come on the 30th, you can see our fun, it's not scary, spooky exhibits. And learn about the history of Halloween and about different traditions and some literary monsters. So we have some literary characters set up, which are part of our history.
The historian says the exhibit's history lessons will focus more on the forgotten spooktaculars of the day.
A lot of history is passed through stories. With Halloween, we get a lot of scary stories. But there are a lot of stories that we've kind of assigned to Halloween, you know, Dracula, the Sherlock Holmes stories, werewolves, Frankenstein, that weren't necessarily Halloween, but they are kind of creepy.
The center strongly encourages masks and costumes for all that attend. Admission costs $10 for adults, with children 17 and under, free. Alana Wingate, WNY News Now.
Looks like a lot of fun, Alana. Thank you for bringing that to us. And we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now on this wet and rainy Friday. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comment section down below. It's great to see Pam, good to see Cindy, Amy, and Wendy as well. We thank you for joining us today. And speaking of the wet and rainy conditions, it seems like it's across much of our area. Let's check in with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter now with more. Hello, Dakota.
Hello, Justin, and happy Friday, everybody. So close to that holiday, that Halloween weekend. Of course, a lot of parties and whatnot going on this weekend. And it is a wet day out there from the Warren City Bank Skycam, showing you the rain that is moving on in. Now, we've had one band of rain that moved through this morning. You can see here on First Defense Doppler, this rain band moved basically from south to north. Here comes another rain band that's coming in from the south, and this all has to do with the storm system that's spinning near the Ohio River Valley. And this thing is a slow spinning storm, so we're going to keep the rain chances in the forecast based on the weekend, but we are hopeful for Halloween we will dry out, hopefully for trick-or-treating. We'll talk about that forecast a little bit later on. 48 as a noon hour, that's down from our high for today. Believe it or not, the high at 3 o'clock in the morning. So yes, we're down from that. It was like 55, I believe was the high. Southeast wind to 13, and we do have some fog being reported at the airport. 6 miles is the current visibility right now. And as we take a look at the forecast through the afternoon, rain moves south to north, some moderate to heavy downpours through the afternoon. So have that rain gear handy. This is where we're going to end the day today, 46 to 54 with an east to southeast wind. Now we'll keep the rain chances through the weekend, but could we see the first snowflakes of the season mid next week? We'll talk about what we know a little bit later on in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be wanting to see that forecast. We'll see you back here in about 10 to 12 minutes. Thank you, sir. New York's governor has signed 3 bills to combat gun violence and to address the rise in ghost guns across New York State. Governor Kathy Hochul signed those bills into law yesterday. The first act makes it a crime to sell unfinished frames of receivers where people can put together guns and evade the law. The second measure criminalizes the sale of ghost guns and requires gunsmiths to register and put serial numbers on all firearms, rifles, shotguns, and unfinished frames. Now, the final law will crack down on firearms designed to look like toy guns, which could confuse law enforcement.
We want to continue solidifying New York State's reputation as having the toughest gun laws in America because gun violence has not abated. We cannot say we have laws in place and we're going to rest on that. We have to keep challenging ourselves to address the problems as they keep arising. And as technology changes and as the criminals become more clever in trying to evade our laws. So we are continuing to make sure that we have those in place. We continue to lose.
Hochul goes on to say that New York lawmakers must keep challenging themselves to address these problems as they arise, as technology changes, and as criminals become more clever to try to evade the law. Well, after a year disrupted due to the pandemic, the Jamestown Red Raider Marching Band is back into the swing of things as they head to their conference championships this weekend. Our Dante Roberts spoke with the band's director about what's to come.
On Sunday, the band travels to Syracuse to compete against 8 different groups as a part of the New York State Field Band Conference Championship. Each weekend for the past month, the band has competed against different schools leading up to the performance. Marching band director Megan Murray explains that a lot of hard work and dedication has gone into perfecting their show.
It's sort of an evolution from the beginning of the season. You know, you can kind of guess that at the very beginning, we're really teaching fundamentals. We're teaching the kids how to, the biggest, newest thing is the marching. These kids have been playing their instruments since 5th grade, 6th grade. And so that part of it is not as new.
Now that the band is at its peak, the group is working to roll out any final touches.
I mean, we're at the point where it's like move over 2 inches or move that flag 1 count sooner. You know, those little tiny, minute things, but they're all really important because those little things are now sticking out because everything else is kind of starting to come together. So it's a really fun part of the season. I like this part. I like perfecting our performance and trying to get it as best as we possibly can.
On Saturday, the band will hold a free community performance to say thank you to families, friends, and alumni for their support. The band hopes to see many people send them off for their championship. Dante Roberts, WNY News Now.
Dante, thank you. The marching band will perform at 9 o'clock on Sunday night. If you can't make it out, you can still watch it online. It streams live on Box 5 TV for $25. Well, coming up, our furry friends are gearing up for Halloween. We go live to the Chautauqua County Humane Society as they prep for their Walk for Paws event this weekend. But first, the Democratic candidate for Chautauqua County Executive, to see him there, joins us live just days ahead of the election to talk about top issues around the area, including his plan to cut back on government. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Located along the Amish Trail, the Randolph Retail Company offers a variety of clothing, jewelry, and gifts for any occasion. Offering uptown merchandise at small-town prices, our locally owned business balances quality and value. With complimentary gift wrap here at the Randolph Retail Company, we pride ourselves in personal service. Check out our Facebook page or stop in today at 127 Main Street, Randolph, just a 20-minute drive from Jamestown.
What could you lose in a home fire? your possessions, your home, your memories. Don't let your world go up in smoke. Make sure you have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones, because fire is everyone's fight.
This message was brought to you by the Jamestown Fire Department and the Chautauqua Safety Village.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Early voting continues in Chautauqua County as Election Day nears, and those vying for political office are continuing to push to win over voters, including the Democratic candidate for Chautauqua County Executive, Norm Green, who joins us live in studio today. Mr. Green, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
First off, I want to ask how things are going at Green Election Headquarters. Have you been able to get out and talk to voters? And if so, what are you hearing?
Yeah, I actually have been talking to quite a few voters. It's interesting, the feedback. People know my name. People know my issues. I go up to the door and they say, Norm, you've already got my vote. You don't need to talk anymore. And it's surprising to me, the great reception.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of time for people, I think, to get to know the candidates over the last few weeks, including our debate last week where your opponent, PJ Wendell, asked you about your plan to cut back on government in the county, specifically with the village of Panama. What are your ideas there, and why is that something important to you?
Well, it goes back to the 1970s. I was on a dissolution committee in the village of Fredonia. I actually had circulated a petition there that started the ball rolling. When I was in the Ellicott Town Council for 2 terms for 4 years, we talked about consolidating government during that period of time. It's something that's, and then as an election commissioner, we brought on all the villages, but Sinclairville, to the Board of Elections umbrella to assist with voting. That's something that hasn't happened elsewhere. Cattaraugus County, pretty much, I think it's just a couple other villages have come on board the village under the Board of Elections. So that's who I am. And the Panama discussion came up along the way. Panama is a village of less than 500 people. They get a sales tax share from the county, and my point was the sales tax share doesn't go for the operation of government. It goes for garbage service for the village residents. The sheriff's tax sale, if we took it away from the village of Panama and gave it to the town of Harmony, it still would benefit the residents of the village of Panama who depend on the town of Harmony for their street maintenance and all services.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be a loss of service necessarily.
Wouldn't be a loss of revenue for the taxpayers in that area. They would actually just see it coming from a different area.
This week, the county legislature passed Wendell's 2022 budget, something you would have to work with if elected, and allocated some of the American Rescue Plan funding as well. From your perspective, what do you think of the budget, and is there anything that you would have done differently?
Well, there's 2 big issues that have come up in the campaign. It's the hiring of 42 new workers. There's been 100 workers, nearly 100 workers been hired over the last 5 years, of which PJ Wendell has been involved. He's a government expander. You sit there, and if you took off Democratic and Republican, you'd wonder who the Republican was. I'm concerned about the future. And the future is, how do we pay for these jobs? Currently, the jobs are being paid for through partially, not all of them, some of them through grants. It's Terry Nebel, a conservative Republican, asked that same question that I've been asking all along. How are we going to pay for this? Is this sustainable? And the answer is no, it's not. It's dangerous what we're doing and adding these jobs, and disappointing in the future to people that might lose their jobs.
And also during that meeting, I know the group of lawmakers passed 2 resolutions on COVID. One of them was seeking alternatives to the COVID vaccine mandated request to the state. We asked you about this last week during the debate, where you stood up saying that the county needs to embrace the vaccine. Do you feel that this motion could send the wrong message?
Well, it definitely sends the wrong message. Our county executive consistently has told people, hey, it's okay. It's okay that you don't get vaccinated. It's a personal choice, which isn't the case. The message the other day was certainly something that bothered me. Cattaraugus County became the first county in the state that passed this kind of resolution. Chautauqua County joining us. What it's done is it's put up a border. It's made us give us negative press across the state. It's said, hey, we're not a county that's open for business. And you know, again, the Republican is just going in the wrong direction. This is the first pandemic that we've had since 1920. Let's make that perfectly clear. And so there are certainly things that need to happen in the United States of America. We are sliding behind other countries. Other countries, you know, are concerned about what we're doing and about travelers from our country going to their country. So, you know, in Chautauqua County, we need to do what we need to do, and that's we need to encourage. We need to have the leadership. The leadership needs to lead. That's been something that's been a problem for P.J. Wendell. And leadership needs to say, hey, everybody, you need to get vaccinated. There's really not a choice here unless you have a medical situation that prohibits vaccination.
And I know the big call has been because they want their freedoms. They want that freedom to choice. What do you say to those who have that argument, who simply just want the decision to not get the vaccine?
Yeah, well, the United States Constitution is pretty clear. The preamble is where you need to read, and we have not only rights, but we have responsibilities. And we need to, and our responsibility is to keep our country safe. And our responsibility, I looked at this, I'm a United States Army Vietnam era veteran. There's only one other veteran that's in the legislature, and that's Bob Bankowski. That really, if you read the preamble, if you read the Constitution, had an obligation for everybody to go into service. I'm not saying everybody needed to go into service, but you can't pick and choose your obligations. You know, I've lived my life with obligations. My obligation was to go in the United States Army. My obligation was to protect the rest of my citizenry in Chautauqua County, and that was to get the jab.
All right, Democratic candidate for Chautauqua County Executive Norm Green joining us in studio today. Sir, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate having you on.
It's my pleasure. Please get out and vote this weekend, early voting noon to 5.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, Election Day next Tuesday, polls open at 6 a.m., so important to note.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Well, something we've been talking about is kind of how warm October has been here. The first half of the month, our average temperature was 64 degrees. And so I put the little smiley face emoji there, but take a look at where we have been the past couple of weeks. A total reversal here. The average temperature has been 49.9, rounded off actually 50. So it's been a complete flip-flop of a month here that we've had, warm to cool, and that's October for you. 55 was the high today, but again, as we told you, that was at 3 o'clock in the morning. 79 and 13 are the records for today. So let's show you First Defense Doppler radar and show you where the heavier rain is now. This is the next band of rain that's moving on in. Notice the reds and the oranges here start to indicate the heavier amounts of rainfall. This is moving mainly to the north. So again, the same thing that we talked about, rain is going to overspread from south to north today, and it has to do with this system right here spinning over the Ohio River Valley. This is a slow moving system, so it's still going to be across the region over the weekend. So that is the reason why rain chances are going to be through the weekend. So the newest run of the computer modeling showed you the rainfall coming in. Again, notice the patches of heavier rain moving on through. So could be some moderate to heavy downpours. The rain continues tonight, so if you're going to the JHS playoff game tonight at Strider Field, just make sure you have the rain gear with you. There should be no lightning delays, but it will be a soggy one. The rain will turn more scattered in nature by the time we go into Saturday, and then on Sunday, the rain will continue in patches. So how much more rainfall are we picking up here, at least over the next day or two? Again, we could see at least over an inch worth of rainfall here going all the way through Sunday morning. While overall flooding is not an issue, we do have to keep an eye on the local area streams and creeks. Updated trick-or-treating forecast. Again, we are hopeful that the rain will end just in time for trick-or-treating. 52 down to 47 at 8 o'clock. And now the next 7 days are coming up on the screen. 51 tomorrow. A better day coming up on Sunday as the rain ends. Partial sunshine. Tuesday as you get out and vote. 43. Take a look at what comes up Wednesday and Thursday with a few wintry mix. Could be our first snowflakes of the season, Justin, coming mid next week.
Oh yeah, gonna have to break out those winter jackets? Maybe not yet. Dakota, thank you. Well, in an effort to help our furry friends find a forever home, we're partnered with the Chautauqua County Humane Society, and what's my favorite segment? It's the Pet of the Week. Joining us live is Brian Papalea to talk more about this week's featured furry friend, and I hear he's got a pretty big itinerary coming up this weekend to celebrate Halloween.
Yes, he does, Justin. This is Barney, and we actually have spotlighted Barney, I believe, twice on this. We're waiting for him to go home. He's a great dog. He's about 2.5 years old, and he just loves his people. He loves adventures, and then when those adventures done, he loves to cuddle, which right now we actually were just playing pretty hard for a little while and playing some fetch and stuff like that, and now he's standing still for the moment and cuddling with me. Yeah, he will be at the Walk for Paws tomorrow at the Chautauqua Mall.
Yeah, and I know that's a really big event that you guys have, and I wanted to ask about that. Have you received good response from folks so far as they get ready to maybe deck out their pets for their own trick-or-treating?
First, I'll say thank you, Justin, to you and the Western New York News Now crew for supporting the walk the way that you guys have. Yeah, we are getting a great response. Something we're really grateful for is being able to have a venue like the Chautauqua Mall and the folks there that are helping us, because like Dakota was just talking about with the weather, you know, it's nice to be able to be indoors and not have to worry about potential rainy conditions. We're hoping that we'll see a lot of folks coming with their pets in costume if their pets are comfortable with that. It's not a requirement, so that's something, you know, if your pet would just want to come be part of the fun without the costume, that's good as well. People can still register at chqhumane.org as of today, even though tomorrow morning. But we will say if folks who just want to drop by with their families, you know, have a good time, bring their pet. Even if you don't have a pet, we are going to have a few dogs up there available for adoption during that time frame. So just there's a lot to it. We're going to have some fun. Ledger, a dog that was adopted back in 2019, is going to be showing off some tricks that he knows because he's won some of the American Kennel Club's top trick training awards. Just a lot of Paul Clemente will be hosting from Karate Sleepover. A lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, and that all kicks off Saturday at noon at the Chautauqua Mall. And like you mentioned, our friend Barney, who's looking for a great home. If somebody's watching this segment and they love the way he looks, he almost kind of gives me like a little Scooby-Doo vibe just in time for Halloween. Would they be able to meet with Barney tomorrow?
Yes, we're going to have Barney, Ruby, Pinto, and one other dog. It's slipping in my mind at the moment. And they will be able to available for adoption and could be adopted right there if things were to work out well. And definitely you'll be able to meet and greet them.
Absolutely. So our friend Barney looking for a great home, and especially if you need somebody to keep you active during these approaching winter months, it looks like he's definitely the guy for it. Brian, I'd like to ask this question in the final moments we have. How is he with kids? Has he been tested in that? I know that's a big decider for a lot of people.
Yeah, what we're looking at is a home with older kids, definitely, because he's got so much energy. You know, he might accidentally knock into the little kids or those who might not be as educated in being around a dog. Also, cats, that's not going to work out because he is not a fan of cats.
Yeah, no. But a fan of Scooby snacks, maybe?
Yeah, you're not the first one to make that reference. I will say that.
Yeah, certainly. So again, to learn more about our friend Barney here, it is so easy. You can log on to chqhumane.org and there's many profiles of the dogs, and many times you guys do a great job putting good details in there. And you can look at pictures of him and, of course, schedule a time to meet up with him. And again, Saturday at noon, the Chautauqua County Humane Society is hosting their Walk for Paws Halloween event, where if you want, register today to be part of that. Donation benefits the society, and you can even bring your animals dressed up as well. I imagine cats, dogs are okay, but things like hamsters, that okay too, Brian? Or
there has, over the years, I heard is prior to me, but someone brought a horse one time.
Really?
Yeah. I know. I saw a chicken.
Of course. Pretty cool. Brian, thank you. That's it for us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on